and welcome again, everyone. Good to have a number of folks on the line that were here last week, and if this is the first of this three-part series that you're attending, welcome as well. Next week, we'll be running through how EnergyCAP uses EnergyCAP. So you'll hear a little bit about how we've been using our own products to help track our carbon footprint and to see some of our own energy metrics and things like that. So looking forward to hosting you next week for that as the third part of our series. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about the next generation of EnergyCAP reporting. And we've got a number of things that when we talked to folks at Catalyst about, we realized that we've been making some significant updates and changes to reports over the last few years, but a number of folks didn't know about them. So I'm excited that you can be here watching this. Hopefully you get at least one or two, or maybe even more items that you can start using today within your databases. We're going to be talking, everything I'm going to show you today is live and active. We're not talking about future, we're talking about what's already here and available to you within the EnergyCAP platform. So here's our agenda for today. As I mentioned, EnergyCAP continues to provide additional reporting options and tools. And that's what we're going to run through today. We're going to go through some of those tools and things that are available, help you get the most out of using them for the benefit of your organization. We've made a lot of improvements to finding and running reports, and I want to make sure that you're aware of those. We've made filtering even easier, and we've added additional help and configured reports to help you get right to the report that you want and to help tell your story well. That's something that's really important to us at EnergyCAP, is that we're giving you tools to tell your story well. Because if the data is just kind of locked in place, then that doesn't really help anyone, and it really doesn't help you in terms of getting additional momentum. So we want to make sure that you're aware of how to use these tools to tell that story well. We're going to talk about the next generation of quick reports, something that we released at the end of last year, but a number of folks haven't really tried it out. So we're going to talk about the power of what those quick reports, those new quick reports look like. We're going to talk about sharing reports with others, and then we'll wrap up with taking your reporting to a whole new level with Report Designer BI. As Daniela mentioned, if you haven't already, go ahead and open up the chat feature in the webinar and introduce yourself to the group. Let people know your name and organization, maybe your role as well. It's just great to have our customers be able to connect with each other and kind of see who's on the line. As was mentioned, submit any questions that you have through the Q&A tool. Lilith will be answering some in written form throughout the presentation, and we'll also take some of them live, and he may even break in and present a couple of questions while we're going through particular topics. Also of note, this recording will be provided to registered attendees after the fact as well. So don't feel like you have to take copious notes, but definitely jot down a couple of things that you can start using today, because my guess is for many people, there's at least one thing here that you can use today to make your life a little bit easier. All right, so let's start with our first topic, the improvements that we've made to finding and running reports over the last 5 years. And I mentioned 5 years because that's when we had our last in-person Catalyst in 2018. So I'm going to be running through a number of updates that we've made to the reporting process in that period of time. So you'll find, if you take the time to look, it's a lot easier now than it ever has been before to find the reports that you want to use within EnergyCAP. And we've laid out several different tools we're going to walk through today to help you narrow in on the report that you'd like to use. I'll tell you, when I do training at an organization on EnergyCAP, one of the common questions I have is, can you help me with which report should I use to do X? And what we've done is we've tried to give you several different avenues to follow to find that yourself and be able to identify reports and be able to run them well. So we're going to start by talking about the reports list of items. I was going to say hierarchy. It's not really a hierarchy. It's really the list of reporting options that are available right on this side. And we're going to walk through each of these and explain what they are. So some are self-explanatory. Some, maybe you didn't realize the power of what's there. First off, recent reports. So these are reports that you personally have run recently. But it's also important to remember that those reports also save your last set of filters. So if you run a report and maybe the following day or even the next week or maybe the next month, you say, you know what, I ran a report that I really liked. I wonder what that was. And you don't have to start from scratch. You can simply go back to recent reports. You'll see a list of all the reports that you have run, and you'll see them listed with the filters that you used the last time you ran those reports. So that's a great place to go once you've already started the process of using reports on a regular basis to save yourself a little bit of time. Next up, recommended reports. This is one of those items that I think a number of people just didn't realize how it worked. It was kind of magical in the background. Recommended reports provides the ability for administrators within your organization to set up a collection of reports and provide those reports to particular individuals in your organization to help them not have to deal with so many reports. It's really your organization's opportunity to curate the report list into a set of reports that you think might be most helpful for users. So it's a group of reports that your administrator has assigned to you. And I've shown a picture here in the bottom right. This is actually from the user edit screen, or the creation of a new user screen, where each and every user, just like they have permissions with a user role, they also are assigned a reporting group. So this could be a feature that maybe your whole organization isn't even taking advantage of today. You can create and manage these groups right within the module menu. The module menu is the thing that looks like these three lines. You can simply click there and you can create different recommended report groups and then assign them to users to help them manage a smaller set of reports as they're navigating the EnergyCAP environment. That's what recommended reports is. Next up is My Reports. Now, these are reports that you personally have saved for your own use and benefit. So they're all the reports that you've gone and clicked on the Save Report button at the top. Those reports are saved along with all of the filters that you have configured when you are on that screen. That also means that you can save the same report multiple different times, each with different sets of filters. So for instance, there might be an executive level report that you would like to provide to different divisions within your organization, but you would like to be able to, let's say you have 4 different divisions, you'd like to be able to run that report once for Division 1, once for Division 2, once for Division 3, once for Division 4. You can save that report 4 times and save different filters with all 4 versions of that report so that it's as simple as coming back and clicking a button and running that report. I'm going to show you when you save a report, we've actually made it even faster for you to rerun a report that's already been saved to your list. You also have the ability to customize the names and descriptions of reports. So you don't have to be lost. You know, if you're like me, sometimes you forget, oh, I know I did something, but I don't know exactly what it was. You get to put descriptive names and actually fill out text into the description field to help you remember maybe why you have that report saved or how to use it. So that's My Reports. Let's move on to Reports Shared with Me. Now, this is a feature that didn't exist in prior versions of EnergyCAP. This is something that's a fairly new feature that allows administrators within your team or whoever has the permission to save shared reports to configure a report and then share that report with 1 or more user groups so that they can have a report that's already pre-configured and it's really easy for them to click on and use. So the Reports Shared with Me, it's really all reports that have been shared to the user groups that your user is in. They're always run with your own permissions. So that's a really powerful feature of shared reports. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you have 10 different building managers who all manage different buildings across your system, and each one of them has different topmost permissions. You can have one single shared report that you save and you share with all of them. When each of those 10 individuals runs the report, they will get customized details and customized data within that report that's consistent with their own topmost permissions. So they won't be able to see your data. They won't be able to see someone else's data. They always run within the context of that given user. So this is a really quick and easy way for an administrator, as an example, who knows which reports their organization should be using to save a report, share it with other EnergyCAP users, and know that when those EnergyCAP users run the report, they're going to see the data in the context of what they have permissions to see and do within the EnergyCAP application. So that's a really, really powerful tool, and it can be a real time saver. So if you're not already using that within your organization, please check it out. Also of note, maybe you're someone who really likes a clean list and you say, you know, all these people are sharing reports to me all the time. I don't want to see all the reports. One of the things that we did is we added to shared reports the ability to hide reports. So maybe there's a report that's been shared to you that isn't really applicable. It's not one that you would run on a regular basis. You can simply hide that report. It'll be gone from your shared reports list. And then you can simply show all reports if you want to get back to it at a later date. So that's reports shared with me. Next up is the reports library. The option here that probably most of you are most familiar with, which is the full list of reports that your user has access to. That's the report library. It's meant to be everything you can possibly run within EnergyCAP. It's there. It's a great place to start when you're looking for a brand new report. But then it's kind of the home of where then you can save reports or share reports or even create report distributions. Speaking of report distributions, that's the last option that's available within the reports module. Report distributions is the ability to automatically send via email reports on a regular basis. That's what a report distribution is. So with a report distribution, you can configure a report once, determine whom should receive that report via email on a regular basis, and then have that sent automatically. And you have options to send reports on a daily, a weekly, a monthly, and even a quarterly basis. So you can configure it and have it automatically sent out to various individuals, whether they're currently EnergyCAP users or not. This is not available to every user. This is a permission that you can turn on or off. So you have the ability to turn it off, and for certain individuals who may not be in a position where they should be sending automated emails, and you can turn it on for others. It's important to note that report distributions aren't owned by any one person. So let's say within EnergyCAP, both Lalit and I are both using EnergyCAP. If he creates a report distribution and I create a report distribution, he'll see mine and I'll see his. Part of the reason we did that is because we realized that someone may create a report distribution, and when it gets sent out on a regular basis, what happens if that user no longer has access to the EnergyCAP application? What if they go inactive? What we wouldn't want to do is stop this automated email process that's going on in the background. So when you have permissions to create and manage report distributions, you will see all of the report distributions that have been created for your organization. They all live here in this particular list. We're going to talk more about report distributions in just a little bit. So that's a little bit of the ways that you can navigate using the reports module and the different items that are available on the left. But there are some other tools that we've added to help you find the reports that you're looking for, whether it's a new report or maybe a report that you've already saved. The search field at the top, this is something that didn't exist in prior versions of EnergyCAP, and it's really powerful. This searches the names and the descriptions of reports. So it allows you to narrow down your list to a smaller set of reports that apply to what you're looking for. I should also note that this search box is also available in your recent reports and your recommended reports, in the reports you've saved and the reports shared with you. So that's where when you create a custom name for a report, when you save it or when you share it, you can really use that to your advantage, because now it becomes searchable for you and others in your organization as well. So I've talked through a number of these things already, matches on name or description. And again, you can use it in any of those different items that we talked through on the left-hand side of the reports module. Now let's talk a little bit about filters. Again, this is a feature that is unique to the newer version of EnergyCAP. The report filters allow you to narrow down the report list. Doesn't matter which list you're looking at. It narrows down the report list based on items that you say you're interested in. So you can use one or you can use many different filters here to narrow it down to a particular report that you may want to run. You can also use this with search. So maybe you fill this out first and then use search. So now you're searching through a smaller list of reports. One tip that I would recommend is if you already know in advance that the type of report you're looking for is a PDF, or it's an Excel, or it's an Excel data only, just select that as an option here. When you do, you'll be able to filter the list to only the reports that appear in that particular format. And then you're not picking a report and then going, oh, well, it's not in the particular format that I wanted it to be. So that's just one quick and easy way that you can use report filters, but there are lots of other options here based on topic, based on format, etc. So those are a couple of different options that are available to help you find reports and save reports in a way that makes sense for you. Let's talk, though, about the main report list, because we've also tried to make that more valuable so that even when you're just looking at a list of reports, there's some really helpful information, and I don't want you to miss the value of some of these little indicators. When we look at the report list, the first thing to note is that the actual formats that report is available in are shown as little tiny icons. That's what I'm showing here in the bottom left. These little icons tell me that this report is available as a PDF and as Excel and as Word. This is how they appear in context within a particular report list. So you can quickly, just at a glance, identify the formats that a particular report is available in. You can also click on the thumbnail of the report to see a larger preview of it. You no longer have to go into the report to go see if it looks like the type of report you want to run. You can simply click on the thumbnail, the image of the report right there, and we'll bring up a sample, and you can stay right on the report list. You don't have to go back and forth. It's all right there within the report list for you. When you're looking at shared reports, you'll have this actions menu that appears here on the screen. I've highlighted. That actions menu includes the ability to take certain actions, like running a report instantly. So you don't even have to open the report and look at the filters. You can just run it with the save filters for that particular report. Also, if you're on a shared list, you can hide particular reports that you don't wish to see on a regular basis. Those are all new options that we've made available as you're looking at reports in the report list. So it's one thing to talk about it. I'd like to show you how this works in action, just to give you an idea of these different options and how easy they are to use. So here I am in my EnergyCAP database. I'm going to navigate to the reports module. So first off, we've talked through the difference between these different items that are available on the left, your recent reports, your recommended reports from your organization, reports that you've saved with custom names and descriptions, reports that others in your organization have shared with you. You can go to reports library, you get to see everything, and then report distributions. And we'll come back to that one in a little bit. But when we talk about, let's say, for instance, I want to look at the full reports library. Let's start by using some filters over here on the side. I can say, well, I really only care about reports that are available as Excel data only. I can select that and notice that my report list automatically is reduced to only those reports that are available as Excel data only. I can also choose particular topics. I might say, well, yes, I want to look at greenhouse gas related reports. So now it's combining those filters together. And then I could search on top of that to narrow down the list even more. This is a really quick and easy way to reduce the number of reports that you're looking for. That's one way. Another option is, like I said, you can look right here at the reports and see the different formats that are available. I know that this report is only available as Excel. Why? Because I see only the Excel icon available there. I can also take any one of these reports, click on the thumbnail, and I get the full example of the report right there from the list. So I can quickly just click on reports and see if they match with my expectations of what I'm looking for a particular type of report. Okay, some really easy options there. Now, when I go to reports that are saved, let's go, for instance, to the reports that have been shared with me. A couple of things to note. One, I can hide a particular report if I no longer want to see it. I can also choose to subscribe. That would mean that I would get this report emailed to me on a regular basis. I can also email this instantaneously. So maybe there's a report that I have saved, and the same is true if we go to reports that I've saved for myself. I can take a particular report and I can email it right from here. Now, this is not a subscription. This does not keep going over time, but if you're looking for an instant send of a report to one or more people, you can simply use the email report option. Right from the report list, you can email a report out to other people, and you can see here that you can put a subject and content within the body of the email as well. You can also run reports without having to go into the report if it's saved or if it's a report that's been shared with you. Those options are also available right here. So you can see you can subscribe, email, and download immediately. So as an example, I can take this and just click on PDF. I don't have to open the report. I don't have to configure any filters. It'll automatically run in the background for me. So those are just a few of the ways we've tried to make it a little bit easier to find reports and work with reports. But we've done even more than that, especially when it comes to the topic of help. So that's where I'd like to go next, is transition to talk a little bit about the way we've added new help, both within the EnergyCAP application and also within our help center to help you with using reports and getting used to using them on a regular basis. So the first thing to note is that now when you go into any of the reports, there's a new option to show the full instructions for that report. So we didn't want you to have to always go somewhere else to go see additional details. Right within a report itself, you can show the instructions. That'll expand and give you some really detailed instructions about running that report, as well as often some tips. Like, although reports are flexible, one of the challenges are, because they are so flexible, sometimes you might not know which filters you want to use. By clicking on the instructions available within the report, it gives you a really quick and easy way to see if we have any tips. Like, hey, try it out like this first. So in this particular example with this report, we gave some tips. If you're looking for cost avoidance, here are some settings that you want to make sure you set. Excuse me. But our help for reports is not limited to only the screen that's available within the application. If you click on the More Help at the bottom, we've also added dedicated help pages for particular reports. So you can go and see even more content. I'll show you an example of this in just a moment. But you can see even more content and examples with step-by-steps for what to do if you're looking to use that report for a particular situation. So we've really tried to make it easier for everyone to get value out of all of our reports, whether it's within the application with simple instructions, or if you want to pop out to the Help Center and get more detailed information about a particular report. Let me show you what that looks like. So here we have this shared summary. Actually, I'll go right to the reports library so you can see that this is applicable to everybody. Let's go ahead and use this summary by commodity report as an example. If I click to open this report, notice we give a brief description of the report up top. We have a sample image of that report. You can click on it to see a bigger image, but here's where you can get to additional instructions. And if you click here, you'll notice that there's a whole set of instructions and tips that we make available to help you succeed at using this report well. But we didn't stop there. If I click on More Help, that'll automatically open up a new window, go right to the Help Center, and provide detailed information about that report. It shows you how to interpret the report, recommendations for filters, even some additional filters that you may want to consider as well. So lots of options for help that are available both within the EnergyCAP application as well as in the Help Center. One other thing I failed to mention in my presentation, I want to demonstrate it right here, is configured reports. I mentioned the reports are very flexible. And we realized that with that flexibility, you know, it's kind of like the saying from Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibility, right? So we give great power in reports. The responsibility side is how do you use the filters to get the data the way you want? So what we've done is we've actually saved some very commonly requested variations of our reports. And you'll see those listed. We call those configured reports because they're pre-configured, so they're easier for you to use right off the bat. You can see that even here with report one. Report one is our monthly trend report, and that can trend lots of different data types. So as you can imagine, there are a lot of filters that you can use to configure this report the way you want to see data. But we realize there's some very common use cases for trending data. One of those is to trend building data. Another is to provide an executive summary that does a year-by-year comparison. Another way is to do it by meters. So you'll notice that this one report, report 01, has been saved with 3 additional configured reports. And what does that mean? That means that when I go down to one of these configured reports, it's the same report, but what we've done is we've actually taken away certain filters that don't apply if you want to use it in this particular way. We've also updated the instructions to be more specific for this type of configuration of this report. In this case, doing an executive summary. So we've actually simplified the report by reducing the number of filters that are required. In some cases, we've just gotten rid of filters altogether for that configured report to make it easier to use. So even if you in the past have gotten used to using a particular report, you may want to take a moment to see if we've provided a configured version of that report that might have some really easy settings so that you don't have to set them up again every time. And we've done a lot of these. Here's another example with report 04, where we created a version that's based on buildings. We've created another one that's based on executive summary. And you'll find these throughout our list of reports, many new configured reports with additional help that go right along with those reports. So when you hear us talk about configured reports, it doesn't mean that it's something new or different. It means we've actually provided a simplified way to get to the reports that you're looking for. All right. Trying to stay ahead of my talking so that Lalit doesn't have to jump in and save me this week like he did last week. So those are some additional options that we've added to both help and through configured reports, try to make it easier for you to get going with reports right off the bat. But we've taken it one step further. And this is something that I'm really excited to share with you. And if you haven't noticed this or started to use this, this is a great tool to start to get introduced to reports or to help new users within your organizations feel comfortable with using reports within EnergyCAP. So the term quick reports has actually been around for a while. We used it in EnergyCAP version 3. We got rid of it when we went to version 7 because we found that not a lot of people use them. But as we've thought through, we really analyzed why is that? And we did some research with our customers to understand how we could make reports easier to access and still usable. Excuse me. So quick reports is our answer to that. And what quick reports are is it's a really simple reports button that's available right at the top of every screen within the buildings and meters tree and also within the accounts tree. Any object that you're on from your facility tree or your accounts tree, you can simply click on that reports button and you'll have access to commonly used reports that are automatically configured for whatever you're looking at right now. So if you change buildings, the reports act differently. It will act on whatever building you're on right now. If you change accounts, it'll change based on whatever you're on right now. These quick reports are automatically filtered, automatically filtered for you. They're already pre-configured with common settings, and we've made multiple variations of the report available. So for instance, even within a quick report, you can choose between Excel or PDF or Word as an example, making it even more accessible. All of these different links are all different variations of the report as well. So you don't have to configure them in advance. You can simply click here and see all of these reports that are already pre-configured for the thing that you're looking at. This is really one of the best tools for getting used to using reports, learning which reports are helpful and learning which filters you might want to use when running a report. So this is a feature that's a whole lot easier to demonstrate than it is to talk through. So I'd like to show you how this works in real life. You'll notice that the Quick Reports button is available right here. And right now I'm at the root node of my facility tree. But let's say I go down to a building. It's still available. And if I go all the way down to a meter, it's also available. But the options within there have changed every time that I've changed my view. So if I'm up here on an organization and I click reports, I'm going to see reports that apply most often to running reports from an organizational point of view. If I come down to a meter, I'm going to see reports that are specific to meters. And the most common reports based on what we've seen our users use in the past for running meters, reporting on meters, excuse me. So let's come here to the building view and let's look at the reports that are here for building. So I've got this building performance report. I can simply click on this link and this report will be prompted for me. Notice I don't have to fill out any filters and any of the particular formats that are available are listed right here. So maybe I want this as a PDF report. I can click right here. Maybe I want to also run it as an Excel report. I can simply click on it again. Now I'm downloading it both as a PDF and as an Excel report. When we look at monthly building trends year over year, lots of options for doing that. If I want to do a cost trend, I have 3 different options for the ways that I can configure that report and run it either as PDF, Excel, or Word. This really does help you learn which reports might be the most helpful when you're looking to report on your data. So this is a great way to go and learn about the reports. But there are 2 additional options here that I want to show you. One in particular I think is incredibly valuable. So right now I'm on a building. If I click on this See More Building Reports, what does that do? Well, it actually takes me over to the reports library and it adds a filter for building. Right? The same filters we were talking about before, it automatically gets filtered for me. So now I can see all of the reports that have some variation that deal with buildings. That's nice, but the feature that I'm really excited to show you about is right here. When I click on this cost report, or any of these reports in particular, yes, I can download the reports right away, but what if I want something that's a little bit different from this? Or what if I want to save this report so that I can rerun it, maybe give it a different name or a different description? When you click Configure Advanced Options, what we've done is we've configured this report and we take you right to the exact report that we would run for you. And we configure all of the filters to match the same filters we would use if we were to run that report for you automatically. So this allows you to, 1, learn which report it is that we're running for you. 2, learn which filters to use to get a report that looks just the same way. And number 3, it allows you to change the filters. So maybe one of those reports that we've made available as a quick report is really close to what you want, but you wish it had a couple of things that were a little bit different. You can simply come right here, configure the report for yourself, but you're not starting from scratch. You already have a working example that we've configured for you. You can go ahead and make additional changes, and you can also save this as your own report so that you can come back to it anytime that you want. And that works for any of our quick reports. I'm going to come over to the accounts module to show you the same thing. Here I am on a cost center. I click on reports. I see a bunch of reports that are configured for cost center reporting. I can take any one of those reports, click on it, easily run the report, or click on the advanced options. The report will open up. All of the filters that we use for that report are shown right here. It's a really, really great way to get started with using EnergyCAP reports and saving reports that can help you save time and energy as you continue to learn and use more of EnergyCAP's features. So if you haven't tried it yet, please take a couple minutes today to try the quick reports and show it to other people within your teams, because this can save you a lot of time and give you a great head start on trying to find the right reports to use within your organization and to really ultimately tell your story well. So that's quick reports. So we've added lots of new filtering options. We've added new help built into reports. We've added configured reports to have more report options that are already pre-baked for you. We've added quick reports to easily get reports just with a click of a button, but also lead you to a more advanced setting if that's what you'd like. We've also added additional functionality in terms of sharing reports. So two different ways that you can share reports within your organization. I've touched on both of them already a little bit. The first is when you take a report and you share it with one or more user groups within your EnergyCAP database. What that means is that you're giving that report to other people who already have logins within the EnergyCAP product. So they can log in, they will see that report already configured with the filters that you've set, the name and the description you've set. It'll show up in their shared reports list. Important to note that this always runs within the context of the user's permissions. So go back to the example I gave of those 10 building managers. Each one has a different set of permissions. When I share a report with the 10 of them, whenever each one of them runs the report, they will get the data filtered just to their own permission set, to their topmost permissions, whether it's their buildings and meters permission or their accounts permission. So it's a really easy and convenient way to, as an administrator who's someone who knows EnergyCAP more, configure reports and help others on your team easily be successful at running reports. That's the share report option. So it's for other people who are also logging in so they can run reports when they want to. The next option is report distributions. And this is something that some of our version 6 users had previously used in the past. It was available to some customers in version 3. It's now built in to our latest version of EnergyCAP. Report distributions allow you to configure a report and have it automatically emailed to one or more people on a regular basis. You can choose daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly. It can be sent to existing EnergyCAP users or to new EnergyCAP users. In fact, if you try to send a report distribution to someone who's never been given access to EnergyCAP, we will automatically create a brand new account for that person. Why do we do that? Well, we do it because it allows you to configure their topmost. Maybe you'd like to send it to someone who's never logged in, but you'd like to control what they get access to. When we automatically create a user for you, when you're sending emails, you have the ability to go right over to the user list and change their topmost permissions, both for their facility permissions and for their accounts permissions as well. Each person receives the report based on their own permissions. So you can set it up once, distribute it to 100 people. Each person will get this report filtered to their own set of permissions within EnergyCAP. You can choose the option to not send the report if it's empty, so you're not cluttering people's email inboxes. And each and every email that we send is now logged so that you can go back and verify that it was sent, whom was it sent to, what were the options that were configured at the time that that was sent. Report distribution is an automatic feature within the enterprise license of EnergyCAP. It is not something that comes automatically with Express or Pro licenses. So if that's something that you're interested in and you're an Express or a Pro user, you can talk to our sales team about that. But if you're not seeing this option, that might be what's going on for you. But for enterprise licenses, this is included in the license. So let me show you what it looks like to configure a report distribution and how do those appear in the reports module. So we talked about this distributions option that's down here at the bottom. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a list of every report distribution that is configured within my database. It's not just ones I have set up. There are report distributions that anyone within the company who has permissions has configured within this database. So we can see here that there are a couple that have already been configured. There are also a few things to note. Notice these little tags. I can quickly see that this report, this EnergyCAP headquarter year-to-date summary by commodity, is configured to be sent on the 1st of the month. So just at a quick glance, I can tell what is the periodicity of this particular report. Here is a list of everyone's objects. Okay, great. That's what somebody has named this report. This goes out daily. However, this job is currently disabled. So one of the things we did when we built report distributions into the latest version of EnergyCAP is we gave you the ability to temporarily disable a distribution. Maybe you don't want it sent for some period of time. So in the actions menu, you can disable, or if you have a disabled report distribution already, you can simply enable it. Also of note, when you configure a report distribution, you can also test it out at any point in time. So you can say, hey, just send this to me. I want to make sure that I got this right. So before you go and send that email out to maybe dozens of people, you can first just say, just try it to me, all right? And what that'll do is it'll run that report just like it normally would, but you will be the only recipient of that report. It'll send it directly to you. You can verify that the content, the filters, et cetera, are exactly what you would hope that they would be. You can also send these on demand. If you have one already configured, you can simply send it right now. So maybe you're catching up. Like this is something that people want to see at the beginning of every quarter, but this is the first time you set it up and you're in the middle of a quarter. You can simply send it right now. That'll go out, and then the regular schedule will just pick up right after that. You can also copy distribution. So maybe you have one, but you want to make a slight variation, save it for other people. Those options are available here. What options are we talking about when we talk about a report distribution? Well, first off, we have the filters, right? So for any report that you want to create a distribution from, first off, you're going to set up the report, pick the report, set the filters that you want to apply. Once you configure the filters, then you choose whom should receive this particular report distribution. You can customize the reply to address if you want people to reply back to you with questions. You can choose from any of the user groups that are already within your database. You can also create a new user group. And this is what you can do, for instance, if you wanted to add brand new users who've never logged into EnergyCAP before, you can simply add a new email address and we'll create a user for them automatically. Additional details about that are available in the Help Center if you'd like to learn more. You can customize the subject that will be sent as well as the message that will be sent. For some reports, they're available in multiple formats. So pick the format that you want sent, choose how often you wish it to be for it to be sent, and go ahead and save that. Now, what about report distributions that are already here, right? I went in and I edited one. If you want to create a brand new one, you can simply take any report, configure your filters. This could be a report I've already saved for myself, or maybe even one I've shared with the company. You'll have in the Save menu the ability to save a new distribution. And you'll see it walks through the same screens I just showed you. You set your filters, and then you configure all your email settings for that particular report. The last thing I want to show you about report distributions is having confidence that they are going out as expected. So if you have access to manage report distributions, you'll have this option at the top here to look at the distribution log. When you click there, you'll see every single email that EnergyCAP has sent as a report distribution. So you'll be able to see when did those distributions go out. If you expand them, you'll be able to see exactly which email addresses was this sent to, what were the filters that were applied when that was sent. So this is a great log of all the different emails that have gone out over time. So if somebody says, well, I'm not getting it, you can simply come here and see if they're in the list. And that would give you an idea of maybe whether or not you need to change your user group to include somebody else. And if for any reason we can't send an email, you'll actually have a little notification here. But you can see all of these went out, they were completed. You can have confidence that it's working, especially if you have the option set to not send if there's no data. You can still come here and know that EnergyCAP tried, but then if we see no data, we just didn't send the message for you. So that's the distribution log, and that's available right here at the top if you are a report distribution administrator. So that's report distributions, really flexible, Lots of options to save you time and still get data to people in a very timely manner. We've got one more topic today. So we've talked through ways that we made things easier to find, filter, etc. We have dozens of reports available within EnergyCAP, and we continue to add to that list. But what if your needs for your organization are a little bit more unique or different? Well, we also have an advanced option called Report Designer BI, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about that. And as just a point of reference, when we think about reporting on data, and we think about getting your data out of EnergyCAP, which again is really important to us. It's your data. We want to help you get it out in a format that makes sense for you, helps you tell your story. You can think about, starting on the left here, Power Views, really quick and easy, but not as customizable. Those have been pre-built into EnergyCAP and are there for you to use, but you don't have to do anything to set them up. They're just there. Really quick and easy, not as flexible. As we move to the right, we have more flexibility, more options, dashboards. You can choose what you want to see and you can set some of the filters. Bill lists take that to another level where you can even filter the content and all the columns and you can export that to Excel. Reports gives you lots of options to get your data out, but each and every report has been built by EnergyCAP. Report Designer is a tool that we used to have available as an Excel plugin, and some of you may have used that before. That was our initial attempt to get data into Excel so that you could customize it even more. But there was a problem with that. There were some issues specific to the Excel engine that was used that limited the amount of data that we could store. It relied on the performance of your own computer. So for some of our customers who were processing a lot of data, that became a little challenging for them. But we didn't stop and say, well, I guess that just doesn't work. We're not going to go any further with it. No, we continued along that path and actually during COVID released Report Designer BI, which is the next generation of flexibility and ability for you to get your data from EnergyCAP into a format that makes sense to you and really tailor the visualizations and the displays however you would like within your organization. We like to say Report Designer BI is your data, your way, right? You get to use all of the powerful data that's in EnergyCAP that you've been working to maintain so well, but you get to display it or do whatever you'd like with it in a way that makes sense for your organization. You're not limited by something that we've built at EnergyCAP. So how does this work? Your EnergyCAP database is still the core. That's the data that you're maintaining on a regular basis. But what we've done is we've made this service available where we're publishing that data to you through a service that Microsoft provides called Microsoft Analysis Services. But don't let the name Microsoft trip you up. This is not publishing data only to other Microsoft products. This is a standard format that can be used by many different tools. And I've only listed a few of them here. Yes, of course, it works with things like Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Power BI, but it also works with Tableau and Cognos and SAP and Oracle and TIBCO and even more. They all support this standard from Microsoft. So what it's doing is it's publishing your data in a format that then you can take and configure however you would like. So here are a few details. Report Designer BI organizes your data into an easy to understand data model for analysis and reporting. In fact, we have over 30 different tables of data that we publish for your organization to consume, and every single table, as well as every field of every table, is fully described in our help documentation. We wanted to make this really easy for people to use and really have confidence in the data that we're making available. It's provided in a consistent structure and format that won't change. Even if behind the scenes we're changing the way we save or configure your data, Report Designer BI will continue to provide a consistent model so that you can build reports and be able to be confident that you're not going to have to change those year over year. As I mentioned before, this has been built with widely used and industry standard data modeling tools and services so that this isn't custom to us. This is a very public, very well-known interface that many organizations are already using to consume data, even within their own organizations today. So you can plug and play your EnergyCAP data with all this other content that you have within your organizations. And we host this service, so it no longer performs differently whether you're on a smaller laptop that might not have as much processing power or a really big desktop machine. Report Designer BI now performs at the same quality for everyone because all of the processing is done on the EnergyCAP servers. This also allows you to take advantage of your own organization's strengths. Maybe you have an organization that's using Tableau already, or maybe you already have other dashboarding tools that you're using on a regular basis. You can now just plug EnergyCAP into that data set, and now you can mix and match data that you already have with your EnergyCAP data, and you can use the teams and the people who are already supporting those tools within your organizations with your EnergyCAP data. So you get to best of both worlds, take your expertise and combine it with the data that you're already maintaining and managing within the EnergyCAP database. There are many reasons why we chose Microsoft as the technology to use, but the one thing I want to point out, if you're not familiar with the business intelligence space, the BI space, is that Microsoft truly is an industry leader. And we chose to use Microsoft tooling so that we could get EnergyCAP data to as many different destinations as possible and work with as many different systems as possible. We have multiple help resources to assist with Report Designer BI. We have the full descriptive data model that's available in our help center. We have online documentation that's available. We even have an example Power BI file that you can download just to take a look at how does a customer use this? How might I use this within my own organization to be able to do things that maybe I've never been able to do within EnergyCAP itself. This is, by the way, just an example of the data model that we're publishing along with the data. All those relationships and things that you've already created within EnergyCAP, they just come along for the ride through Report Designer BI. I've listed here, and this is also in our help center, all of the different tables that are available to you, and there are more. This is a growing list that we continue to add to over time as well. And here's an example of what that data dictionary looks like, where every table is described, as well as every field being described in terms of its format, what the content is, if it was part of our prior Report Designer Excel plugin, what did it used to be called? So if you have somebody who's already familiar with that, they can transfer that over to Report Designer BI. And we've provided other examples as well as connection information. All of that's available in our Help Center. You can check it out today at helpcenter.energycap.com. As I mentioned, there is an example Power BI file. You do not have to consume this data with Microsoft Power BI. We simply provided an example file because Power BI is a free tool. So you can download it and you can try it out yourself and see what that looks like. And many thanks to Penn State, one of our customers, who gave us permission to publish some of the data as an example so that you could play around with it and see what that looks like. Now, I'm not going to have time to both answer questions and give you a demonstration. So I'm going to skip the Report Designer BI demonstration, but I just wanted to show you this is that file that I've downloaded. And there are many examples here of how you can have a very interactive display with lots of filtering options. You can even combine data so that you have, for instance, data that you have brought in through maybe a budget that you maintain outside of EnergyCAP and mix it with your EnergyCAP data. Those examples are all here within this sample file. I encourage you to go take a look, download it, helpcenter.energycap.com. We have a dedicated section for Report Designer BI that you can access that particular file and try it out on your own. As I mentioned, we're going to continue to add data to Report Designer BI as we continue to expand the types of data sets that EnergyCAP is recording and maintaining for you. This is available for all of our hosted customers as a licensable feature. If you have additional questions, I'd encourage you to reach out to your sales team representative, and they'd be happy to tell you more about that. We also have some recordings and things that actually go into more detail on Report Designer BI if you'd like to learn more. Well, that was a lot to pack into an hour. We've done a lot of work within EnergyCAP reports to make data more accessible to you, to make it easier to run reports, to save reports, to share reports, and even go beyond the capabilities that are available within the EnergyCAP product itself through a Port Designer BI. As I mentioned before, I hope at least one or two of these items were new to you and you had an opportunity to try those out, or have an opportunity to try those out or share those with your team in the upcoming weeks. And with that, I'm going to pause and stay on the line and answer questions. If you aren't able to stick around for that, thank you for participating today. Appreciate having so many customers who've been learning about what we've been doing. Don't forget that Lilith's going to be talking next week about how at EnergyCAP, we use EnergyCAP to our advantage as well. So stay in tune for that. With that, I'll turn it over to Lilith. What questions do we have?
We don't have actually any questions submitted through Q&A.
All right.
If anybody has any questions they want to post, we have 2 more minutes left. Or maybe you can even unmute yourself. And I don't know, Daniela, if they have the ability to unmute themselves and ask the question.
If you want to post that you want to say something, I'm happy to make you a panelist, which will give you the opportunity to share your microphone and video.
Okay. Any
So
questions?
that is an option. Dave, I think it's just that you covered everything so well.
Somehow I don't believe that, but if you do have follow-up questions that you think of later on, please do reach out to sales@energycap.com. They'd be happy to either answer the question for you or put you in touch with someone else that can get the answer for you. We're here, and again, it really is in our DNA that we want to make your data available to you to tell your story well. That's really important to us. We continue to make more options available to help you with that. And if you have other suggestions as well, ways that we can make that easier for you, we'd love to hear those too, so that we can continue on over time. Daniela, you have your hand raised.
I'm do. Ready. Hey, we had a great question come in from Michelle. She said, what is your favorite report for accountants?
For accountants? Ooh.
I know, it might be a tough question.
My favorite report, I do really like this one a lot, is the missing and overlapping bills by meter report. And the reason why this is so powerful and why accounting teams have grown to love this, we took a report that used to be used in prior versions of EnergyCAP and we enhanced it. It gives a visual representation of which months of data might you be missing, as well as are there any particular months where you might have 2 bills that you shouldn't. It also really quickly identifies any bills that are lagging from vendors as well. So this is report 17. It's called Missing and Overlapping Bills by Meter, and it is super powerful. Definitely recommend taking a look at our help guide for this, because you can use this to only identify gaps in your data. You can use it to identify late bills. It'll identify for you how many days are missing of data and how many bills you have in a particular billing period. We've made some significant improvements to this over earlier versions of this. And from an accounting perspective, this is a great way to make sure that your data is looking clean and nice. And you can even have this emailed to you on a regular basis to keep in touch with your data. So great question. All right, well, if there are no others, thanks for your time today. Appreciate it. Good luck with all of the reports and new options that are available to you. Many thanks to Daniela and Lilith for helping facilitate today as well. And we look forward to having you join Lilith next week to hear how EnergyCAP uses EnergyCAP. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.